There are a variety of ways to be involved in presenting to and participating in a small group. The most obvious one is when you are part of a small group and you meet together to solve a problem, whatever that problem may be, and you're directly participating in that group. Second, you as a outsider, you may be speaking before a group, asking them to meet some need, to change something. It may be requesting a change in zoning, or as you address the zoning board, or you may be addressing a town council, or maybe a school board. And then third, you might find yourself in a group presenting before another group. The first one, of course, is very obvious when you're in a group participating directly to solve that problem. The second one is not as obvious, and that is when you're speaking as a member of a group to a group. And this is obviously seen in the classroom setting when you work within a small group, within a team, and you are required to present your results before the rest of the class, other groups per se. The one that's a little bit different is when you are speaking as an individual to a group. You may have two audiences. First, the primary audience is the actual small group. Sometimes it's a secondary audience, and this is a collection of individuals who attend the open meeting, just like a school board or a rezoning board. Individuals who attend the open meeting for a number of reasons, to maybe speak later on, or because they have an interest in some way, some fashion. So when you do have a primary and secondary audience, so you're part of the group, you're speaking, dealing with an issue, and there's an audience out there watching you. Now you have to decide, as you present, you have to decide, do you construct a message for the primary audience, accepting the fact that the secondary audience, the people out there who are watching this group deliberate, may not fully understand the context, the concern, or the content. Or, second, do you construct a message that takes into account both audiences, knowing that for members of the primary audience, some of the information will be unnecessary or redundant, but will be helpful for the secondary audience? The variety of small group formats, and we'll get into that. At the very beginning, if you are required to be involved in a small group, you meet as a group and you decide how you're going to take this forward. You'll define your purpose, you'll look at your setting, you'll set some goals, you'll distribute the workload, you'll research your topic and issues, and then you'll organize your information in a way that's meaningful for the audience and relevant for the audience. Some of the small group formats include panel discussions, which is a relatively informal interchange on the issues in front of an audience. So you may be a subject matter expert and you have called to informally speak about an issue for the benefit of the audience rather than the group members. Again, audience analysis is important in any speaking situation, but also for this panel discussion, because you need to know some of the demographics of your audience. Panel discussions usually are directed by a moderator who makes sure to elicit a balanced view of the issues and to involve all group members. Those moderators coordinate and organize the discussion. They may ask pertinent questions. They will summarize conclusions. And most importantly, they'll make sure the discussion moves on. Once the discussion is over, the moderator is the one that opens the floor to audience questions in a Q&A session. In a symposium, this is more formal. It involves prepared speeches on a specific subject given by group members who have expertise in the subject. And after the presentation, a panel discussion or forum may follow. This allows for some interaction between the team members, the group members, and also for the audience to ask questions of the individual speakers. Let's get to some small group role responsibilities. And the first is norms. Norms are those visible social structures that govern our behavior, tell us what we're going to do, inform us in terms of what we're going to do. And roles will also emerge very quickly in a group, and there are basically two types of roles, the leader role and a follower role. So whether you are elected or appointed or emerge as a leader over time, You need to be aware of the group dynamics and the relationships among group members. Your goal is to provide direction and purpose and to articulate that purpose clearly so the group knows why they exist. You need to keep them on track. It's easy for discussions to meander and wander far away from the original discussion. And at times you may need to synthesize information, provide a clarifying summary to bring opposing viewpoints together closer. Other leader relationship roles or responsibilities include making sure that everybody speaks. You are the gatekeeper, ensuring that everybody has an opportunity to speak, and so you need to draw information from the participants. You need to ensure that group communication isn't one-sided. There may be one person that's dominating the discussion, and so you need to allow for others. You need to invite others to participate in the discussion, to offer varying, diverse opinions so that the group will have multiple perspectives. It's your responsibility to maintain cohesion. The group needs to see itself as a group, not as a collection of individuals. As a group functioning together, working together, there should be some type of social identity as a group. In a conflict situation, you as the leader should acknowledge the person's point of view, even acknowledge the conflict, but suggest that the problem may be solved from other perspectives as well. Conflict is healthy. When you have a diverse group of individuals, you will have a diverse group of diverse viewpoints, and so you're going to have some conflict. It's how you deal with the conflict that makes it either a healthy or an unhealthy situation. Unproductive conflict, on the other hand, is a major obstacle to task completion, and usually that arises when you have self-serving behavior. So what do group members do then? Group members as a whole function as active participants to the discussion, sharing responsibility for task completion, and they work effectively with other group members. So as a group member, you need to know the constraints of the assignment. Why do you exist? What is your purpose? What are you expected to do? Do you know how you will be evaluated? Do you have a rubric of some sort? You need to develop a communication plan, figure out how you're going to communicate with each other, especially if you're not physically in each other's presence. And then you need to work together to achieve group goals. Again, a shared identity, a shared image of the overall goal of the assignment. You must be responsible for completing your part of the assignment, and you must research sufficiently. Make sure that what your contribution is adequate and sufficient, and it functions and overlaps and fits into the research of your group members. You also must communicate effectively and efficiently. And when that is done, it increases the likelihood that the group will fulfill its vision or its mission or its purpose. You need to avoid personal attacks. Personal attacks make it impossible for the group to achieve its purpose. And very often you need to leave personal problems at home, because outbursts of anger can destroy relationships, can fragment groups. The next video will deal with some guidelines for group problem solving, and we'll look at Dewey's reflective thinking method.